All right, welcome back. Brett here with clickmill.co. In this video, we're going to be talking about the base way of purchasing digital advertising. And this is what is called on a cost per click basis. So this is called CPC marketing. We see CPC, that's really important. So instead of, again, just paying for the billboard over the highway or paying for the helicopter to drop out all, you're paying for the gas on the helicopter and all this other stuff, you only pay when someone goes, let's say, into Google and types how to hire an attorney now, and they hit enter and your ad shows up and they click on it. You only pay when they click on it because it is cost per click marketing. And this is awesome because yeah, that click might be $4, $5, $10. If it's like universities and colleges, it might be $100 or $200 a click, but you are able to calculate and run projections on whether or not you can be profitable before you even begin, which is awesome. And we'll get more into that and how to calculate these types of things as we go through the course. But cost per click means you only pay when someone clicks on the ad. So they're identifying themselves. So as long as you have really good ad text that's really accurate to your product and they click on it, you have then said, oh, this person's really interested, and you have a very high probability. Consider, how do I say this? Comparing to traditional advertising methods, you have a very high probability of getting a sale. So you talk like maybe a 3% conversion rate or a 2% sales rate on an e-com site, something like that. Well, when you helicopter paper flyers everywhere, you're going to get a 0.000, whatever the conversion rate is, much smaller. Okay, so it's cost per click. So you pay when someone clicks on the search result. I'm going to show this to you on my screen. And so we're going to come over to Google so you kind of get the idea of what we're talking about. I'm going to come over here. Okay, so when you're seeing my screen here, let's just say I'm looking for a contractor. Actually, we'll go with attorney since we're doing that. ATTOUR, attorney. Let's say, I don't know, what kind of attorney am I looking for? Attorney, here we go. We'll go with attorney for car wreck. And then what's going to happen? I spelled it wrong, so we're going to fix that. No, I'm not going to use my exact location because I want to see all of the countries. I want the best in the country, let's say. And this is great. We've got the guy that's going to jail here. Okay, but you'll notice the first thing that comes up here says sponsored. Okay, now I happen to know that attorneys for car wrecks, like contractors, these are very competitive niches. And so here you'll notice it's sponsored. This is a Google search ad. And here it is right at the top. Free consult. Look at that. They're telling me right there, free consult. I need to write that down. I actually really like that. This is professionally done, by the way. You can tell just by looking at it. You'll notice all of these letters here are capitalized. I'm getting ahead of myself, but you'll notice they forgot to capitalize the consult there. Everything else is capped, so that's kind of funny, but not a big deal. Anyway, free consult, DUI property damage, DUI drunk driving, aggressive DUI defense, get your record expunged. Okay, so they're talking about all of the different main services people are going to need when you have car wreck attorney. Okay, so that's a sponsored ad. Here's another ad. Okay, so now these people are advertising to me right now. I'm being impressed. This is an impression. Right now, you're being impressed. I'm being impressed. We're looking at these ads. So when you look at your advertising dashboards, it's going to say impressions. We're being impressed. It's free. We are being freely impressed. They don't have to pay for this. But as soon as I click on one of these and go through to their website, then Google is going to send them a bill for the cost of the click, which is probably somewhere between $5 and $15 for something like this. Okay. Now, in 2023, 2024, the average cost per click across industries is somewhere around $4 to $4.50. Okay. Now that's up quite a bit because in like 2022, it was $2.50. So the cost per click has inflated as well. So when you just think about cost per click, this is going to follow a lot of monetary changes. So if there's a lot of inflation in the currency, there's going to be a lot of inflation in cost per click. Those are things we need to think about as advertisers to be aware of how we're going to tell our clients, hey, this is how much you need to expect to pay. So cost per click change over time. So we look at the ad. This is cost per click. Okay, now I'm going to stop sharing and we're going to go into one more base kind of piece of knowledge when we're talking about cost per click is how is the cost for the click decided? And this is what is called it's on auction basis. Okay, so you've got all of these different businesses, let's say car wreck attorneys. I don't know if that's the actual name for them, but car wreck attorneys. And these car wreck attorneys, let's say there's 10 of them in my area, and they're targeting it in. I'm in Oahu, so let's say they're targeting in on just, there's probably not even 10 in Oahu now that I'm thinking about this, but let's say there's 10 in Oahu, and they're all just targeting the one island because, you know, they're not going to be flying to another island, or maybe they will. Maybe they target all the islands. So you have these 10 attorneys and they're targeting a certain area. And then in the advertising account, they're setting a bid. And so it's an auction. So I go in and I type in what we just typed in, attorney for car wreck. I hit enter. And within that 200 millisecond time gap between me hitting enter and the page loading, all of these accounts are firing off their bids, and they're saying, we'll pay $1, we'll pay $2, $3, $4, $5, $15. All right, you get the ad spot. And then they show up in front of me as I search. Okay, so it appears in front of me. And this is how the cost per click is factored on auction basis. And this actually makes a lot of sense on the part of digital advertisers. I think Google was the one who primarily initially set this up, and a lot of people followed their lead. But it makes perfect sense because the cost goes up with the level of competition in the market. And so what you'll see is in more competitive markets, the cost per click will be higher, and in less competitive markets, you know, more competitive being, let's say, college tuition, you know, best college, and less competitive markets being, you know, underwater basket weaving. Okay, so there's less profit in one, there's a lot of profit in the college, and there's not very much profit in the underwater basket weaving. So your cost per click is going to vary. This is also true geographically. The cost per click is going to vary in second and third world countries. You're going to see a lower cost per click just because there's not as much industry there. There's not as much money to be spent. So you can advertise there and get a much lower cost per click, but also probably the fees you're going to be able to charge and the prices you'll charge are going to be lower. So it ultimately balances out on a regional basis, but the actual cost per click in dollars will be different. So in this video, we're talking about auction basis, and the auctions allow the market to set the price, and the prices will start to level out. It's very interesting when you get into the keyword research. And if you haven't done our training on keyword research, you definitely want to do that as you get into this Google Ads course, and that's in our SEO course. First section is keyword research. You're going to need to do that. That's the basis of this course, as well as all digital marketing. So the keyword research is going to start, you'll start seeing it, and you'll start seeing a lot of the, let's say, attorney, car wreck attorneys, they're all going to balance out about the same place. So let's say $15 a click. Why does that happen? It's because when, how do you say this? The people who bid more than $15 a click run out of money, and they realize they don't make a profit, and they quit advertising. And all of the people who are advertising under $15 a click realize they can't buy any clicks. So it naturally escalates to the top, what do you want to say, cost per click that people can pay and still be profitable. And then when you have advertisers like yourself who are very educated, they can actually look at the profit margins and say, well, if I pay this much a click, I'm going to pay this much for a client. I'm going to make this much with my average client, and here's my average return. So they're actually going to be able to project, just looking at the cost per clicks, how much they're going to make on a client. So in this video, we talked about cost per click and the auction basis it's decided on. Thanks so much for being here. We'll see you in the next video.